man, I got into crypto originally in 2016. Just with, you see what I forgot where I saw something about Bitcoin. And I was like, what is this? And then I had a Robinhood app
Yep.
and really seeing it, but I want to say late 2016 or early 2017, whenever they added it, they added like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and a couple things. And so I went on Robinhood, not technically buying crypto and putting it in a wallet, but the way that they did it in 2016 and 2017. And then I just held it there, dude. And my initial investment was like $3,000. And I didn't try to trade it or anything. And I got busy working and I had a lot of life stuff happen. And then, like, I didn't mess with it for a couple of years. And then in 2019, I pulled it up and my $2,000 was like $41,000. I bought two $10,000 a piece long calls on Mara and Riot when they were super cheap. And so I turned that 20 into like 200, and I promptly lost about 180 of that because of just chasing stuff and not knowing what I was doing. Got out of options for a minute because I about made myself sick losing 180,000.
Yeah.
In today's world, the chances of you day trading as an individual without some computer help via bots and you winning, it's about the same chance of you winning the lottery. You're not going to beat bots. You're not going to beat institutions. And so if you're trying to do it as an individual.
So my next question is, how long have you been in DeFi for?
The beginning of this year. So the reason I got really all the way back in, listen, I'm 42. I've got a 12-year-old son and my wife. And before that, in 2022, my wife and I lost most of our family older than us, our fathers and grandparents, and we had successful real world businesses, not brick and mortar, but we were contractors. We did Airbnbs. We were very successful. We had contracts with the largest retailer in the world, doing construction and assembly work, and some other things. And I was just working nonstop, 100 hours a week every week. And if you work for yourself, as I'm getting older, I go, man, it's a lot of stress, and even my Airbnbs weren't as passive as they used to be. And then you have a lot of real life questions when you lose your family, and so it's like, what's the goal here? What am I trying to do? And the answer for me was, I want the ability to make every decision with every second of my life on what I want to do. If I do not want to trade my time and labor and sweat for money, I want to do the most passive. And then I knew I was going to get into decentralized finance. I'd learned about it and had read some things about it in 2020 to 2021.
Mhm.
But, when I started trying to get an education then, I think what happens with most people is you're like, man, yeah, that's an amazing idea. I want to provide liquidity and then click on the keyboard a couple of times and then turn around and make enough money to live on. But we live in this like disinformation age now, to where when you go from that thought to, okay, I need to educate myself, the fear hits you because you don't know what's a scam and what's real. And so the reason I didn't do it before was because I was doing all those other things, and I didn't have the time to go and fail a couple of times in order to get the education. Whereas, unfortunately for me, I didn't run across your stuff until I'd gotten into a couple other groups. At first, man, I was researching something. I pulled up YouTube and I saw some of your videos, and I was like, what's this kid going to teach me? But I was like, all right, I'll watch the video.
I'll buy it.
And yeah, so I watched the video, and everything that I'd learned in these other two things, and I wouldn't even say from them, it was just because I was doing so much, you kind of confirmed some of the things that I thought was right and thought was true. And I was like, well, he's not full of it. And so for the next month or two, I was still in this other group, but then I kept going back to your videos, back to your everything. I've actually done better doing what Jake's told me to do, that I paid them right off the bat, from how you guys onboard people to, like, you guys put a guy with me within the first 24 hours to handhold me and walk me through the site. You didn't make me watch a video to do that. Is amazing, because it cuts out, any fear. Am I doing this wrong? Am I doing that wrong? I'm live on the phone with somebody as we're walking through. If you don't plan, then you're planning to fail. And so writing goals out, where do you want to be in 30, 60, 90, 1, 2 years? I loved that that's part of how you educate people. That did help me, and it's still helping me today. Just the educational part of it. I knew enough about crypto that, you didn't have to tell me what the blockchain was, and you didn't have to tell me what a cold storage wallet is and all that stuff. Now, you do that, but you also don't take 2 hours or 3 hours of videos to do it. You're to the point, and for whatever reason, when you said it just clicked better with me. The information and the way that you explain things, it was easier for me to get it. And so, yeah, man, I've had the experience I'm having now is amazing, because I'm basically creating I can create 150 to 180K annual salary with my fees alone, not appreciation. With the 45, that 45K is making me weekly what about between 150 to 180 $180,000 annual salary would be in gross. That's exactly what I needed at the time, and now, was because I needed a few different revenue streams that basically 4x above what my wife and I have to live on for a budget. I'm making 16 times what our budget is, and I'm doing it all from my house or from wherever I am with my laptop, an iPad, or a phone. And me and my son get to work out every day together.
There you
Me and my
go.
son, we go play frisbee golf. We're gonna hunt more together this year. I'm spending so much time with my wife. She wants me to leave. No, I'm just kidding. And it's amazing, because I'm doing this from wherever I want to be. And so now I'm living my life, man. I'm not caught up in whatever, the system is that I wanted to get, because then I'm so thankful for
But
yeah.
another thing that I wanted to go ahead and ask is, like, what was the biggest fear factor you had when just getting into decentralized finance that maybe some other people can?
When we made the decision we were going to sell the businesses, immediately I'm like, all right, what am I going to do? And what's going to be the most passive thing? One of the most beautiful things about DeFi is that you have your coins. I put them in this protocol again that I've researched. I'm not talking to a customer. That money is being used per the trading volume in that protocol. And so the trading fees are generated. And the other side of it too is, yes, we are in the beginning of the bull market, or wherever we are in it, but also knowing that at some point in the next year, that's going to end, and already knowing and having an idea of how I'm going to transition some of my DeFi portfolio into positions that don't expose me to big losses of if the market does go back. I know that I'm going to move into more stable coin positions. Just now, I know of 5 different places where I can just tokenize my savings account and get 30%, 40% APR. One of my major holdings and is Caspa. And so I'm not going to go when Caspa hits $1.50 at some point next year. I'm not going to go hit, sell on X 100,000, couple 100,000 Caspa. I'm going to put my Caspa and I'm going to pair it with a stable coin, and I'm going to sell it as it moves and into US dollar. And so I'm going to get trading fees the whole time while I'm DCAing out of that asset thing. And conversely, knowing that I can do the same thing if I want to buy into an asset right now.
Well, Zach, let me ask you this. What was the driving motivation behind joining, Builder Wealth and joining this DeFi program?
So the number one thing, man, was just the education and knowing that I'm learning something the correct way from someone who has had personal success and taught other people to do it. But the other caveat to that is being in a group with other people, because if that are like-minded. And so, if you've got 5, 10, 20, if you got 50 people that all have the same goal, 100 people all have the same goal, and we're all actively participating in this group and we're posting things. Well, now what is that? Well, that's a force multiplier on research. That's a force multiplier on new protocols. And so the education is 100% the main reason, but it's just as important for me now is knowing that I don't have to spend, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week researching stuff. I can spend some time doing it, but I can also cut out a ton of time by just looking at what we all post inside of the group. And so it cuts a ton of, it's not just about providing liquidity in liquidity pools. One of the greatest things that I've, learned is how to hedge that position. So if I think that asset A and asset B, I'm going to enter those in a liquidity pool, and I think both of them are going to go up over time. If I want to make sure that I don't, if I'm wrong, which we're all going to be wrong sometimes, so to lessen that, I can go over to an options website and I can take a short out that hedges against that position. Conversely, there's things like taking loans that I didn't know, taking loans on my crypto. If I think it's going to go up this way, I think it's going to go down that way. So learning all that was a huge bonus, and it just gives me so much more ammunition to be able to continue to move around and navigate the space no matter what the market conditions are.
And another question that I had for you is, after joining the program and kind of going through it for a couple months, right? What are some of the results you achieved? And the follow-up question to that is, the results that you've achieved so far, did those surpass or reach your goal?
Yeah, so whenever I filled out my goals initially when I started the education, so I've exceeded them by far. And my 6-month goal was to be making between 80 and 90% annual APR. And so, this is good, and I know it's good. And so, but this is my experience now for the past 30 days is I'm averaging, almost 1% a day. So I'm averaging somewhere between 200 and 350%.
Would you recommend this program to somebody else that's in your shoes?
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely, I will, and I have. The reality is I am 42, and I want all of my time. And so when I see people that I care for, I'm trying to explain this to them. Even friends of mine that have businesses, man. And now when I look back, even though we were making great money, dude, I was stressed doing that, and I'm bringing home netting way more money or as much money as they are with these giant businesses. What will hurt you more than anything is stress. And that's a fact. And everything I'm making more money easier than I ever have. I have the least amount of stress since I lived with my parents. I have so much free time. I love EDM, and I'm literally taking EDM, like music production classes, because I needed something to do with my time. And that's amazing. Like, me and my wife are going to festivals. We go to 5 festivals a year now.